Hi guys, I am Parvinder Randhawa from IBS Ambala. So today we are going to do this one task one, some tips related to task one. So in this case I have selected a bar graph and it's a comparative bar graph. Basically it is based on the number of houses built per decade in two towns over the last century. It means about, we can say, from 1900 to 1990. So when the graph is in front of us, so what the first step we have to do, we have to check the data, what's the data is given and in which format. As we know that in graphs there are different formats, like we may get the line graph, bar graph, or any other graph also we will get. So just like we can say that some pictures are also there in the graph form. Fine. And pie is also there. So the various kinds of graphs are there in IELTS, and whenever you see it, basically the concept of task one, whatever I have thought that the concept of task one is based on the level of the class 10th only, because in class 10th mathematics, or we can say in other classes, so we can see that there are a lot of graphs which we have to solve in our life. So it's of the schooling level, I want to say. So it's not a typical job. So never just like go in any kind of, just we can say that surprising act that I am getting a graph, that how can I solve it, or how can I write it in a better format. So the thing is that now we are going to start from the 1900. In 1900 we can see that number of houses they have written, they are given from the figure 0 to 380, and the years they are given from 1900 to 1990. So sometimes the people also write, or we can say candidate also write, that on x-axis we have given this, on y-axis we have given this. Frank to you, this is English test and not a mathematics test, and graphs are not to scale. So how can you write vertical axis or horizontal axis? So don't write these kind of things. Fine, it's better that you can go with a simple introduction, that any kind of, we can write here simple introduction, that's like the comparative bar graph. The comparative bar chart describes or explains the construction of houses. So I have changed the word, instead of built it's a construction of houses, right? In two towns within a span of, or within a period of, how many years they have written here, last century, so we can say 90 years. So this is my small introduction, and this introduction is precise also, because it is only of 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14, around about 15 to 16 words, as I have to write just 150 words. Fine. So don't go for any big introduction, just write the very precise, very smart introduction, we can say. So now we when the years are given, so we have to work in a very right format. So right format starts from 1900. So in 1900 you can see that just like we have the number of houses, how many houses were built, and they have given us index also. Black is Newtown and the white one is Farquhartown. So here the number of houses, they are around 50, we can say. Here the number of houses are around 40. So this is my, we can here write, we can go with any kind of starting by just like by analyzing. It is clear that, fine, in this way we can go with any kind of just like language, or we can say that be very clear and specified language we can use here, right? Another, now it is, what is clear here, what is the thing is clear here, that number of around what we can say that approximate 50 houses were built. That's all. So in both towns, right? So this type of language we can use, fine. That, and we can do one thing also. We can start from in 1900, then we can say approximate 50 houses were built in both towns. This is any kind of simple start, just like, don't write anything extra. By going with the simple start, then we go with the 1910, and we can see one thing also, that more houses are constructed up to we can say from 1900 to 1910. More houses they were constructed in this area. That is, which one is Newtown, we can say, right? We can add this type of line. Now after 1910, you can check. There is no need of giving figure of 1910, but just we can go with one line only, that more houses were constructed, right, in Newtown as compared to second town, right? But in so here we have to go with the any kind of comparison word. But in 1920, right, the number of houses built in Fake town, right, increased dramatically. Fine. Here the number of houses increased dramatically. We can say it's a very fine, you can say, because the number of houses in Newtown, I am here in 1920, so here declined, but in this second town it increased, and it increased with a, you can say, very sharply or dramatically, any word we can say, and it touched around 80 or a figure of 80. So, and now this is my highlighting point. Why? The reason behind this highlighting point is that because here the number of houses in second town, that is in Fake town, has been increased dramatically. This is the point, and that trend continued in next 10 years also. You can check here, right? Trend continued, but I have used the but, so I have to change however or any other word we can say, right? The number of houses built in Newtown also showed a rise. Fine. Number of houses built in Newtown, I am in 1930, right, also showed a rise. So we can say this one also. Fine. And now from 1930 to 1960, you can check, there is a constant level. It means the number of houses built, these were the same, and the figure was around, we can say that, because the graph is not to scale, so it is about 110, we can say, or 120. So there was a constant, you can say the constant number was there, that is 120. On the other side, in Newtown, there was increase, but it's a step increase, we can also say, step increase in these years, that is 1930, 1940, and same step increase in 1950. Up to 1950 there was a step increase. Fine. But in 1960 it was really, we can say that, a fall in the, it was a, just we can use another word also, it was a fall in the construction of new home houses or houses, construction of houses. In which town? In Newtown. And the difference between this one, between towns, fine, in difference between towns had a wide gap. It had a wide gap. You can check, because in this town, that is Fake town, the number of houses built just like were 120, whereas in this town, that is Newtown, the number of houses was just, we can say, 5 or 6, negligible, very less number of houses. But right here, next line, on the other hand, or any kind of connectors, you can check my another video related to connectors. In that I have explained the connectors in a right manner, so you can use any connector related to the comparison. So here what is there, that's just like dramatic increase or skyrocketed increase. Fine. From just like the minimum level, the number of houses built increased to 200, around 200, we can say. You can check. So here. Fine. No need to explain this one, because it's constant, almost constant level, so no need, right? We can drop this also, but we can say this one, Newtown, that number of houses increased to this one 200. Now this is, I want to say that in 1980 again this town took leading position in construction. I am in the year 1980. Took leading position. Phaket town, and number of houses just like increased to around increased to 260 number of houses. Now I have used the word here, took leading position. Fine. So the trend continued, and this is the last, it's a kind of, you can say, conclusion also, that in 1990 both towns showed progressive movement in construction of homes, because in both towns the number, you can say that, and they had the highest numbers respectively. They had highest numbers respectively. We can check the maximum number. So what's the, just like we can say that here the highlighting point is that first is this one 1920, the highlighting point. Second year highlighting point, we can say 1970. This is the second highlighting point, and again a sharp turn in both towns, that is 1990. This is also a kind of important point. But 1990 they have both had the, we can say that both just like go with the maximum reach of houses construction. So this is over. So with the passage of the years, conclusion, we can say, go with the very nice conclusion. With the passage of years, the number of houses increase. Fine. It means the people just like they built more houses with the passage of years, or with the passage of time. With the passage of time, residents of both towns got more homes, we can say, or houses. So this is very simple conclusion, which just like we can say that specify the highlighting points also, everything it has been specified here. So this is about the task 1, that how to write a task 1 in a better format. That's all for today. So try to just like go with the kind of these kind of things you can do at your home also. By doing practice, naturally you will achieve better band, because it's better to do whenever you want to do, just write with your own hand instead of suppose this is a graph in front of you, just try to write. And one thing also, always try to go with the sharpness, that what you can get the meaning that the other people can't extract the meaning from that graph. You have to find that thing also. Means there should be sharpness, and it should be unique. Means the explanation should be unique. instead of going for any kind of copy or any kind of another things. It should be unique and in a simple format, fine, with the proper grammar also. Then attachment, then our connective words we have to use, right, and try to use some uncommon words, so that the examiner, he will evaluate accordingly. Thanks for watching video. That's all for today.